Namaste, good morning, hope you have had a great week. So this is the last class in the sequence, last class of the term. What a strange term it's been. So today I think we're going to just try and flow through, and I will give minimal instruction, but I'll let you know exactly what we're doing so that you don't have to wonder what's coming next. So come down into either constructive rest position, if that's what you prefer, or Baddha Konasana if you feel comfortable in Baddha Konasana. And try and relax. Try and soften your physical body and try and relax your thinking brain as well. And use the opportunity at the beginning of the class to scan through and get a sense of what's going on physically and emotionally for you at this particular moment in time. So you can obviously become aware and remind yourself of any ongoing niggles or aches and pains that you have, any special conditions, but also if there's anything that you've noticed over the last week or so, or maybe there's something that you can't stop thinking about. Just be aware of all that. And hopefully over the next hour or so we can give our thinking brain a rest, and we might be able to relieve some of the aches and pains, some of the niggles. Notice if there's any resistance to being still or being relaxed. Try and let your spine soften, your abdomen, your pelvic floor, all these things completely relax if you can. When you're ready to begin the breathing exercise, the slightly longer inhalation, just remember it's all about a very subtle push down on the pelvic floor. Definitely we're not bearing down. It's more a sense of just relaxing that whole area. A little sip of air into the lower belly, and the majority of the air across the main part of the belly, which is obviously the navel area. A little bit into your lower chest, tiny bit more into the collarbone. And then your exhalation is passive. We're just going to try and again, completely relax, soften the body, soften the brain. And not all the air is going to come out, that's okay. Try to resist that urge to push the air out, to hurry it up. Just see if you can allow your body to soften. It's a little bit like a slow puncher. If you have a slow puncher in a tyre, you could squeeze that tyre and get more air out, or you could just leave it be. It takes a while for the air to come out. It might never fully come out. That's what we're after. And the next time you complete your exhalation, you can bring your knees together if they're not there already. Press your toes, your heels and the soles of your feet quite firmly into your mat. Lift your pubic bones slightly and bring your chin in. And then if it's more comfortable for your back this morning, you can bring one knee at a time maybe to your armpits. And just allow yourself again to relax in that position, because there's always that sense of expectation. This is what's coming next, but try and remind yourself to relax in between. When you're ready, you can hold on to your shins and bring your knees just a little bit closer to your armpits, and then create some resistance by pushing your shins into the palms and the palms into the shins, and relax, and that might feel a little bit easier. So fish pose, Matsyasana, broaden across the upper back, press the shoulder blades down, bring the chin in, relax the belly, And then expand the tummy as you inhale, feeling as if you're lifting the belly, the chest, and the collarbone up, feeling the middle of the spine moving quite subtly away from the mat. And then relax. Allow the back of the body to sink back down. Bring the arms in between the thighs and push the arms into the inner thighs and the inner thighs back into the arms. And relax. Take your palms to the outer knees and push your outer knees into your palms and your palms into your outer knees. And then relax. Bring your knees together. Pop the arms down by the side. So we'll give the hips a little bit of a wiggle this time. So from the left to the right. Continue with that left to right movement. Otherwise, you can start to maybe make a little circle with the four corners of your lower back. See how that feels. And if you're doing the circles, then when you're ready, you can take that back in the opposite direction. And then finish off. Give it a wiggle, side to side. And we're going to anchor the left foot to the mat. So grip firmly with the toes. Take your right leg straight. So it's about 10 centimeters off the mat. And just pushing into the ball of the foot. Hold the leg there for a few seconds. And that'll help to relax the hamstring. Also helps to engage the front thigh muscle. A bit of a tongue twister. And that helps to protect the knee. When you're ready, one-legged bicycles. And opposite direction. And finishing off. So bringing your right thigh nice and close to your chest. Interlink the hands around the shin. Give it a push. And then relax. If you want to stay there, you can. Otherwise, flatten the left leg to the ground. Really anchor the heel, make the left leg long. And we're going to do this pose now a little bit like the fish pose, where we push the shin into the palms, but press the shoulder blades down. And imagine we're lifting the belly, chest, and collarbone up towards the ceiling. And then relax. Just see if that feels a little bit easier. From here, fingertips to the bottom of the mat, stay there, or expand the tummy on the inhale, chin to the chest, and peel the upper body off the mat. If you wanted to, you can lift your left leg. Keep breathing into the tummy, because what we don't want is to feel our neck becoming tense, but we want the belly to be quite relaxed around the sides. And bring the left thigh in, pop your feet on the mat. I'm going to roll over to the left side to do some clams, all right? So when you're ready, we're going to do 12 of these. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Do another 12 or relax, or take that right leg straight. Adjust what you need to adjust. We'll do 12 like this. Pushing into the ball of the foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And bring your lower legs together. And we're just going to lift the lower legs. Knees can stay on the floor. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. That's 5. Carefully coming back into constructive rest. And maybe noticing the difference on the right side compared to the left side. Grip with the right foot, so left leg straight now, extending into the ball of the left foot. Relax everything else. But make sure that front thigh muscle feels firm. Hamstring should feel nice and relaxed. And when you're ready, one-legged bicycles with the left leg. And let's go opposite direction. And we'll bring the left thigh nice and close to the chest. Interlink the hands around the shin, give it a push, and then relax. If it's what you did on the first side, stay there. Otherwise, flatten the right leg to the ground, but but we're going to anchor the heel and feel like we're trying to get the hamstring closer to the floor. And then, just like the fish pose, press the shoulder blades down, but push the shin into the palms and resist back. And imagine you're trying to get the belly, chest, and collarbone up towards the ceiling. And then relax, allow the back of the body to sink back down. Fingertips to the bottom of the mat. If you want to, leave your head where it is. Otherwise, expand the tummy on the inhale, chin to the throat, and peel the upper body off the mat. You can take it further than that by lifting the right leg. Keep checking that you're breathing into the tummy, the neck doesn't feel tense. Bring the right thigh in. Pop both feet on the mat. And we're going to do the clams on the other side. I'm just going to shimmy down so I don't hit the microphone. Okay. When you're ready, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Another 12, or relax, or try with a straight leg. Adjust what you need to adjust. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, so let's make sure the lower legs are touching, including the ankles. Leave the knees on the floor, and we're going to lift just the lower legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's go back into constructive rest. Oh, my hips feel a bit more even now, so I hope yours do. Let's bring the thighs to the chest, or close as you can. Balls of the feet towards the ceiling, fingertips towards the bottom of the mat. And you can leave your head where it is. That's fine. Otherwise, expand the tummy on the inhale, chin to the chest, peel the upper body off the mat. Now, maybe you can lift your tailbone, see how you go. Not everyone can, but just do what you can. Now, if you know you shouldn't come up from here, if it hurts your neck or anything else, don't do that. Just lie down, roll to the right side, come up slowly to sitting and then to standing. Otherwise, you can come all the way up to sitting and possibly up to standing. I don't know whether to take my warm top off or not. It's a weird day. So, reasonably close to the top of the mat. Drop the tailbone, drop the sitting bones, push the groins forward if you can. Elbows up, armpits to the floor, chin to the throat. But just check your neck can move, fingers are moving, belly is breathing. Just tilt your weight forward so the toes grip, and imagine you're stretching the mat apart with your feet. And now imagine you're trying to get your heels a bit closer together. It's a little bit like you're trying to get your feet into duck feet. Grip with your toes, breathing into the tummy. When you're ready, you can follow me. I'll give you instructions as we go along. Last one. And when you're ready, about 10. To one side for 5. Back to center. Other side. Center. Back to the other side. center. Other side. And last 5. Center. Last one. And 5. Last one. And 12. Last one. And 5. And 12. And 5. And 12. Nine, 10, 11, 12. Right hand down. That's it. So lift the pubic bone. Optional. Optional. Optional lift. And half moon pose. Optional balance, always optional. Warrior 3 into the lunge. Go the easy version if you need to. Stay in this position or try this position. Stay here, go back to the first pose or palms together. Push your upper left arm into the right thigh, resist back. Back into the side stretch. Imaginary cuddle. Easier. 2 more of those or go harder. And then inhaling. Easier, harder, challenging, or dancer's pose. Feel free to go straight into these balances if you want to. From here we're going to go into the Karate Kid position. You can go straight into it if you want. Second side. Ten, 11, 12. Optional. Just realised I did the wrong pose on the other side, didn't I? It should have been this one, sorry. It's because I'm practicing the next sequence as well. Getting confused. Crisscross. Simple. Optional. Twisting half moon. Simple. Balances are optional. Pubic bone to the left foot. Simple. Harder. Challenging. Half moon position. Go straight into balancing if you want to. But balancing is always optional. We're going to go into Warrior 3 and then into the lunge. See how you go. You can slide that foot back if you want to, or come straight into it. Lift the pubic bone. So obviously you can stay here or you can try this one. You can stay here, you can go back into that first position, or you can try this one. Push the upper right arm into the left thigh. Back into the side stretch if you can. A little bit of a cuddle. Simple. Trickier. You can do 2 like this or 2 more of the easy version. Go straight into the dancer's pose if you want, or follow me. Optional, obviously. See how you go. Karate Kid position. Go straight into the balance if you want. Lovely. Fancy hands. Are you ready? Have your feet a little bit closer. Again, groins forward. Simple. Only come down if you are comfortable and your knees can take it, obviously. Imagine always that you're squeezing something behind your knees to protect them. to hike the hip. When you're ready, like a swim stroke, left leg back. This time we're going into Warrior 3. Simple, harder. Then roll that thigh in. We're going to go into the lunge. Remember, you can slide that back foot back if you want to. Lift the pubic bone, drop the tailbone. When you're ready, we're going to go into Trikonasana. You want to make this harder? Lift that hand away from the front thigh or the front leg. Let the shoulder relax. And bound Trikonasana. Warrior 2. Check your posture. Check your tummy is breathing, face is relaxed. Soft shoulders. Last one. The imaginary ball, or hugging the imaginary tree. When you're ready. Optional. Leaning to one side. Imaginary cuddle. Relax the belly. If you don't feel like taking your hands to the floor, pop your hands on your thighs. Just adjust the position of your feet. Otherwise, we're coming into Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged forward bend. Push into the outer feet, grip with the toes, keep a bend in the knee, even if you're very flexible, just be a little one maybe. And you're either here, or you've got your hands on a chair, or a cushion, or a block. Or if you're more flexible, you can walk your hands between your feet. Let your head relax. Let your shoulders soften maybe. Try not to let the inner thigh muscles collapse. Use the feet. Let's try the twist. So our left hand is on the floor, right hand is on the tummy. Round out the backs of the ribs you're in. Little breath in. Turn from the navel. Bring the right arm out. That's enough maybe. Or use the left palm to twist further. And you can resist with that right foot. And swapping it over. So right hand on the floor. Rounding out the back, left hand on the belly, check it soft. Breathing in, belly to left, left arm out. That's enough maybe, or use your right hand to twist a little bit further, resisting back with the left foot. Lovely. Back into gadgets down, so you can shimmy or you can spring, tuck forward, lengthen between the fingers. We've got the lawnmower. Are you ready? 1, 2, and 3. Easy, harder, challenging. Into Karate Kid, easy, harder, challenging. Lovely. Second side. When you're ready, like a swim stroke. Right leg back. After this, we're going into the Warrior 3. We're going to go into the lunge, and you can slide that foot back if you want to, depending on your balance. You can hold on to something as well. Do what you need to do. Round out the back so your chest is not flaring forward. Can you see the difference? When my ribs are in, my back rounds out. And Trikonasana, back foot flat. Resist gravity. Reach for your ceiling rather than sinking down to your floor. Let the arm, the shoulder relax. Bound Trikonasana. There's a lot of rain out there. And Warrior 2. Check your posture always. Breathing into the belly. And 5, soft shoulders. Last one. Hug the tree or hold on to the imaginary ball, whatever works. Breathing into the tummy. Checking the neck. It's relaxed. Jaw is soft, elbows back, cocktail maybe. J-Lo. One more each side. And if you don't feel like bringing your hands to the floor, that's okay. Pop your hands on your thighs, adjust the position of your feet. Otherwise, same as before. Sorry, you don't have to do that. I'm just very close to the window. In the position for Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged forward bend. Adjust it. You can use a prop, could be a chair, could be a bed, could be your couch. But what we don't want to do is sink into the inner thighs. We want to always feel like we're trying to get our feet back into Gajasthana. So those legs, those leg muscles stay nice and strong. And when we do this exercise in this way, or some of the exercises in this way, so feet pigeon-toed, but like we're trying to get into Gajasthana, we've got all these muscles working around our ankles. Who doesn't need strong ankles? Simple twist. Just walk your hands a little way over to the right. I'm going to bring my feet a little bit closer together actually to demonstrate the hard one. That's enough. Some of you align the navel with the top of the thigh. Some of you take your arms into outer space. Some of you might be more flexible than me in the shoulders, can try twisting more to the right and pushing your upper left arm into your outer right leg. Bring the right arm forward. And don't go too crazy, Irene. I know what you're like. Back to first position. Let's try the second side. So this is nice. It's quite simple. But if you can, you visualize your navel, feel it aligning with the top of the left thigh. That's quite nice too. Taking your hands off the floor, sending them into outer space. A bit more challenging. And this is a really strong twist. Is it useful? Maybe, maybe not. You know, think, is it useful? Or am I just trying to satisfy my ego? Upper right arm into outer left leg and left arm forward. Back to Prasarita Padottanasana. So you can either shimmy or spring into Gajasthana. Push your bottom forward, lengthen between the fingers. Are you ready for the lawnmower? This is number 3. Let's see if we can go straight into the balance this time. Oh, she didn't get there. Not enough lift off. And Karate Kid position. Lovely. Let's do some energy balling. Feel the trunk moving. Try not to have your bum sticking out when you're doing these. Let's go into Uttanasana. Notice I've got my legs bent. It's like a ragdoll variation. Shoulders are soft. Feet are gripping. And because my legs are bent, my chest, my belly is touching my thighs. That doesn't happen if I straighten my legs. I don't want to overstretch my hamstrings, to be honest. And let's come into this position where on our shins we're going to do a variation maybe of Ustrasana, the camel pose, but we're more interested in stretching our hands for this exercise. So if you can't do this, knees are sore, just any position. You can even sit on a chair, doesn't matter. All right, so when you're ready, lean back, fingers to the ceiling, fingers to the floor. Now, roll your shoulders in, bring the arms forward, stretch the fingers back, squeeze your hands into a fist. Now we're going to take left hand to the right, right hand to the left, palms touching, and we're trying to take the hands through, keeping the palms touching and straightening the arms. That's number 1 challenge. That's usually enough, but for those of you who are quite flexible, you can turn your hands in an anti-clockwise direction. And if you want to add on a little bit more, as you're turning your hands anti-clockwise, can you resist by trying to turn them back in a clockwise direction as well? That's pretty strong. Relax, swap it over. So, number 1 challenge is usually enough. Keep the palms touching, work towards straightening the arms. Harder, for anyone who doesn't get much of a stretch, that's not many people, is turning your hands clockwise. And then to add on from there, you imagine you're trying to resist and turn back anti-clockwise. Beautiful. Shoulders in. Bring the arms up. Let's lean back. This makes all these muscles go firm. And spread the fingers. Grab the mat. Press the fingers down. Don't worry too much about the thumb. Lift up the palms. Now we're just going to press the little finger, ring finger, middle finger, index finger down. Let's do that again. And then take your thumb pad and the palm back down, and notice in the first instance you haven't sunk your wrist. the base of your wrist down into the mat. And I want you to remember that whenever your hands are on the floor and you're doing yoga or anything else, you want to use your whole hand, not just that poor little niggly wrist. So let's round out the back, push the sitting bones towards the heels of your hands, look slightly forward, take your right leg back and bring your left arm forward. Now you are welcome to take that left hand back to the floor anytime. Are you ready? 1, 2, knee to shoulder, 3, 4, and 5. We're just going to take that knee to the shoulder, knee to the chest one last time. Parigasana. So right foot to the back of the mat. I want my weight in my right foot. I'm just going to be on maybe 2 fingers of the left hand, and I want that right shoulder soft again so I can extend into my fingers and feel the stretch down the right side. Maybe I take my hand off the floor to feel my core muscles working. Maybe I balance on those 2 fingers, lift the right leg to feel those core muscles working. And if I'm super clever, which I'm not, I could try lifting both. This is hours of fun for a rainy day. Take the right hand down. So we're going to stretch out that right calf. So just try and get the heel closer to the floor if you can. Lovely. Let's try the second side. So left leg, left foot, heel towards the floor. I don't know about you, I get really tight calves. I do a lot of walking. Now if you don't want to do the next pose, just kneel and stretch forward. This is quite challenging for some people. Gomakasana, right foot to the left. Slide the left knee in behind. If you want, you can use a cushion behind for your bum to land on. That makes it easier. Otherwise you're working towards getting your bottom to the floor. What you can do to make it a little bit more deliciously intense is squeeze your inner thighs together. Some of you might like to do what I'm doing. A little bit of a side stretch can be nice too. Makes it a bit more intense. Try and keep your bottom bones on the floor, because I know it wants to migrate over, doesn't it? Back into the cat pose. Second side, so that would be left leg back, ribs in, right arm forward. Remember, you can take that right hand back to the mat anytime you want to. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one, thigh to chest. Parigasana. So I'm going to anchor my left foot, be on maybe 2 fingers with my right hand just for a little bit of balance. Then my core has to work much harder. So if you press, you go, oh, yeah, muscles are really strong. Left shoulder soft, lengthen. If you want to, hands off the floor. Maybe leg off the floor. Maybe both. Tricky. You might be better at this than me. You can send me your photos. I'd love to see them. Oh, back into this position. We're going to stretch out the calf again. So we're starting on the left side this time. If you're super flexible, I know Amy's very flexible, you could try lifting your toes off the floor as you're trying to stretch your calf. You can try that in the down dog later, I'll remind you. So we're onto the right leg this time, or right foot. And we're going to go into Gomakasana maybe, but don't feel obligated. Kneel and stretch forward if you need to. So left foot to the right, right leg slides in behind. Use a cushion maybe under your bum, or a whole mattress if you need to. Squeeze your inner thighs together maybe for a bit of intensity. Try the little side stretch if you want. Back into cat pose. I'm going to do the cat thing now, where you shuffle around 25 times to get comfortable. You're trying to squeeze your body onto a tiny spot. You notice cats do that. So let's come down to our tummy. You can just do that, as in come down to your tummy if you prefer. Otherwise, we're going to try chaturanga. I'm doing it from plank. Don't feel obligated. stay in cat pose if you want to. And remember, I've got that little video on YouTube that I've sent out a few times where we go through this slowly. All right, so shoulders over the wrist, breathing in, elbows in, look forward, come down like an ironing board. Drop to the floor. I'm going to pull out my sleeves for this one. Now, even though there is a harder version of Shalabhasana, with this one we're kind of using it to get a little bit of space between those upper vertebral joints that get a bit stuck with the sitting. Alright, so roll the thighs in, elbows forward, armpits down, shoulders down, pull the elbows to the hips. Lift your sternum, that's your breastbone. And as you press your belly down, can you visualize those upper back joints? They're, as I said last week, they're in a kyphosis, they're rounded. And we just want to imagine that we're trying to very subtly arch that kyphosis, turn it into a lordosis. It's very subtle. I'm not saying that your upper back should be the same shape as your lower back, but all we want to do is just create a little bit of space. Relax. Alright, let's stretch out the pecs because they always need stretching out. So left knee over to the left side, tailbone down, grab the mat with the left hand. We're not at midnight, we're not here, we're about 1:30, bend the elbow, grab the floor, and imagine that pec is glued to the floor, it's super glued. Look at the left hand, use the left hand to try and lift your chest away from the floor. So your chest isn't glued, so your chest is going to lift. But your pec can't lift, can it? Because it's glued, and you're imagining that you're trying to undo the glue, possibly without kicking your microphone. You can take your left toe tip behind. I feel like I must have stretched these muscles yesterday, but I don't remember doing it. They feel very stretched. I did do some yoga yesterday, but I don't remember doing this pose. Back the first position. Can we try the second side here? Right knee out, tailbone down, grab the floor. We're not here, we're not here, we're somewhere in the middle. Let's call it 10:30. Grab the floor. Remember what I said, when your hand is on the floor, it's always going to be the same way that it was when we were doing those hand exercises. We're not just, it's not passive. Alright, so we're pushing the pec down. It's super glued. And then we use the right hand, but the only thing that can lift is the chest because the pec is glued, yes? Maybe. Don't overstretch anyone. And back onto your tummy. Okay, I'm going to shimmy down a little bit because I'm going to touch the top of the thing. Now, with the swimming, remember, you can do this one again. You can just rest if that's what you prefer. You can just do your arms, you can just do your legs, you could just be on your toe tips and do something like this. I'm doing everything. Let's go. We're going to do 35. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Soften. Relax. So we're going to do the worm to come into kneeling, stretching forward. If you're happy and content to do the harder version, you can. I'll take you through the easier one because it's a bit more accessible. So shoulders away from the ears. And from here, we keep our chin in and we don't lift from our chest. So let's get out of those habits, okay? Pubic bone towards the chin. Breathing in, pubic bone towards the chin, pubic bone towards the chin. And this position. And then from here, can walk your knees closer, come into cat pose proper. Spread the fingers again, round out the back because this is a nice counter pose too for what we've just done. Take your knees wide, big toes touching, let your bum drop towards your heels. And if you need to, just drop your forearms here and hang out here. Otherwise, let's use our arms if there's no issues with the shoulders or the neck or the arms, make your arms, or use your arms as a way of tractioning your spine. So what I don't want to do is have my arms in this position and lift my head up, because I could squish my neck. I want to bring my chin towards my throat, push the armpits down, and then I want to imagine that I'm lifting the back of my body up towards the ceiling, and I'm going to keep bringing my chin in as if I'm looking towards my navel. And I want to feel like I'm trying to make my arms longer, and that's going to help me get that sense of tractioning my spine. So I'm pushing my bum towards my heels, but my fingers are creeping to the top of the mat. Don't forget, you can use your breath as well. As you breathe into your belly, you'll feel your upper back expanding. So it gives you that sense of creating length as well. If you want to add on a little bit more, with your armpits pushing down, then imagine you're trying to take the sides of your shoulders towards the sides of your mat. That gives you a nice feeling of broadening across the upper back. Now, just stick with that one if you need to. Find a place where it's, something is happening, but, you're not doing so much that you start to get overwhelmed. Otherwise, we're going to go into the down dog and do the down dog sequence. So you can follow me if you would like to. And remember, instead of the wild thing pose, you can do Parigasana, which we did before. And in down dog with our leg lifted, you can come down and do the leg lift in cat pose if you prefer, okay? All right, so I want to do the same thing that I was doing before. Well, firstly, I want to protect my hands. So here is me lifting my palms. And when I take the rest of my hand back to the floor, I'm not going to sink into the wrist. I've got those habits too, we all have. And I want to push the armpits down. I'm going to look towards my navel. And then I'm going to imagine my belly button is lifting towards my chin. And then I'm going to try and get my shoulders towards the outside of the mat. And then remember to breathe into your belly as you roll your bum bones as if towards your heels. If you're very flexible, Amy, lift your toes off the floor. That gives you a bit of an extra stretch. Some of you can lift the right leg. If you don't fancy that today, rest or do it in cat pose instead. Now, if you're lifting your leg in cat pose, you can go into Parigasana, but it'll be a different side. All right, you'll be doing it to the opposite side to if you follow me, but that's okay because you'll do the other side in a minute. If you're going to do what I'm going to do, take your right foot over to the left, slide your right palm forward, turn the back foot to the left, and if you wanted to from here, you can drop the right knee on the floor or you come into the wild thing pose. So you can do this version. Some of you like to do the back arch version. I know Marie loves this version. Good stretch for the front of the body. Bit of a more intense arm balance. Let's go back into down dog. And you can rest if you need to, but let's not sink into the wrists. Let's remind ourselves to protect what we need to protect. Armpits down, belly button to the chin, bottom bones to the heels, breathing into the belly. Let's lift the left leg. You can do this in cat pose if you want to. And as I said, it will mean that if you want to come into Parigasana from here and you're in a cat pose, you're just going to be doing it on a different side. It doesn't matter. No one knows, no one cares. Otherwise, follow me, left foot to the right. Left palm slides to the top, turn the back foot. If you want to, you can drop that left knee from here to turn it into Parigasana. Otherwise, we've got a wild thing pose. You could do the back arch version, possibly. Trickier. Back into down dog. Lovely. Drop the knees to the floor. I'm going to come into sitting. You can do it your way or you can follow me if it works for you. Nearly there. Okay, so I'm going to stretch out the pecs again, or the chest. So have your fingers towards your bottom, shoulders down, and imagine you're trying to get your elbows a bit closer together. Now we're not lifting our head, so keep your head nice and still. Just push your chest forward and lift your sternum. All right, so that feels like a stretch for me. As I said, I think I was doing Dhanurasana yesterday. That's what stretched out my chest and made me feel stretchy today. This isn't enough, so you just push your chest forward. If you want to try the balance, bottom towards the heels, breathing in, lift up. Remember, it's table, not hammock pose, and shoulders to the hips. Now, if you're going to take your head back, don't just drop it. Chin forward, look up. Keep pushing your throat towards the ceiling as you take your head back so that you're creating space as opposed to squish. Now, I'd say for most people, don't take your head right back. Just work on strengthening those throat muscles by looking up. Yeah? Keep pushing up like that. That's a better way to do it, in the beginning anyway. And calm down. Who wants to try the hard version? Oh, I can hear everyone going, yes, me, I do. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can relax, or you can do the easy one again. Otherwise, this is Parsvottanasana with straight legs, shoulders down. I find it tricky. Some people don't, but I do. Breathing in, feet to the floor if you can, chest and belly up. And if you're super clever out there, you can lift one leg at a time. If you're amazingly, brilliantly clever, you can lift both legs. You can send me that photo. And relax, come down. Beautiful, roll your shoulders in. So squeeze your hands into a fist. Stretch out the wrist, back in the other direction. Broaden the palms. And I'm going to do the cat thing again. Come into this position. Now for the last part of the practice, we might come straight into relaxation. So, funny day. If you're feeling a bit cool, put something warm on now. Get everything that you need close by for your relaxation. And you can come into constructive rest position when you're ready. And I'm just going to shimmy over here a bit because there is the pose. There's not much room for my legs. My legs are quite long for a short person. But my arms are long for a short person. It's very weird, isn't it? Alright, so press the left foot down. Take your right leg straight. When you're ready, let's go one-legged bicycles. Opposite. And let's go back to the first position. So very slowly come up. So I say slow because you get a little bit more length in your hamstring or your muscles when you move slowly, because that stretch reflex reaction doesn't kick in so quickly. It means that you're less likely to pull a muscle. Win-win. Crisscross, stay there, just relax, or follow me. Stay there and relax. Maybe do this. Maybe leave your head on the floor or try the sit-ups. You're expanding the tummy on the inhale, chin to chest. Feel the upper body off the mat. Let's relax, coming back down. Let's try happy baby. So we're hugging this left thigh to the side ribs. This right leg's going into happy baby position. That's what it looks like. That could be your pose. Be true to yourself. Remember, the resistance version, we're either holding onto the calf, the ankle, or the outside of the right foot. And we want this right armpit firm as well. And if it feels soft, try pushing your elbow forward and lifting the shoulder as if towards the ceiling. Now you're imagining you're trying to get your thigh to touch the floor and your foot is saying, no, I don't want to do that. Your bicep muscle should be feeling nice and strong. Now what I want you to do is, when you first do the resistance exercises, you do them as if your life depends on them. We're like, I've got to fight, I've got to win. Now I want you just to relax a little bit. So something's happening, but it's not like your life depends on it. That's your pose. For those of you who are very flexible, I'm going to give you an add-on. What you need to do though is not yank anything. You let go of your right leg and you try and straighten it. It might straighten, it might not. Right arm on the inside of that right leg and you push. So I'm resisting and relax. And then again, arm into leg, leg into arm, relax. Then you can go back to that first pose, or maybe you can hold on to your big toe like I am, or another part of your body. And what I want you to feel is something deliciously intense. I don't want you to feel like you're going to cry. I want you to feel like there's a sense of something yielding, not being forced. Okay? chest. Lovely. Let's try the second side. I can move up a little bit now. Alright, so left leg when you're ready, one-legged bicycles. Back. And let's go back to the first position. So we're going to slowly bring the left leg up and go into the crisscross. Maybe that's you. You're just going to relax there, possibly going to do this one. Maybe you're going to do this, reach for your heels. Some of you are going to try the sit-up. So that's expanding the tummy on the in-breath, chin to chest, peeling the upper body off the mat. Now, when you do these poses, don't hold your breath. You don't need to over-breathe, but just relax, relax. Happy baby. So I'm going to hug my right thigh to my soft ankle, maybe the outside of the left foot. Same thing. It's like we're trying to get the thigh to the floor, but the foot's trying to get to the ceiling. I want this left armpit firm. And if it doesn't feel firm, try pushing your elbow towards the bottom of the mat. Try lifting your shoulder as if towards the ceiling. And then you should find, oh, that goes. So now that's important in as much as it will help to relax these muscles that get really tight above the shoulders. Okay? So for most of us, those muscles are chronically tight. This gives us a way of releasing the tension there. So what I'm going to get you to do, because I know you're doing this pose like your life depends on it, I want you to relax, but it's not passive. You've found, in other words, the sweet spot, that place between effort and surrender. For those of you who are really flexible, let go of your leg. Maybe you can take it a bit straighter. Maybe not completely straight, that's okay. And have your left arm on the inner left leg, and we're going to push the leg towards the floor, but we're trying to get the arm up as well. It's a good strengthening exercise, by the way. Relax. Ooh, look at that. Let's try one more. Push and relax. Go back to that first position if you want. Hold on to your big toe maybe, or could be here, or maybe you've got a block. You can rest your leg. It's fine. Do what you need to do, but please resist the urge to overstretch, because yoga is not about stretching. I know lots of people believe that it is, but it isn't, because people who don't sit in chairs all the time and do what we do, people with more traditional bodies, traditional lifestyles, are going to feel stretched doing any of this stuff. It's all about the physiology, so be aware of that. This kind of idea we all have about, I must achieve. But what's going on the inside, that's what's relevant. And relax. Pop your feet on your mat. Okay, so let's try bridge pose, Setu Bandha. So have your feet about hip width and in a neutral position. Press your feet quite, oh, I don't know if you heard that, that was my tummy. Must have really enjoyed what we've been doing. So push the soles of the feet and the toes down, lift the pubic bone slightly. When you lift the pubic bone slightly, you'll feel these lower belly muscles work. And when you lift the pubic bone slightly and press your feet down, can you lift on your pelvic floor? Not really, because it's already done. So this is an example of organic muscle activation. Okay, squeezing, yeah, it's okay. Sometimes if something's going to fall out, you have to, needs must. But let's try and strengthen those muscles without necessarily squeezing them. This is enough for some of you if you've had enough, all right? Otherwise, maintain that focus here. This is a really powerful part of the body, this core area, all right? Navel to pubic bone and beyond. So as you breathe in, keep your attention on the pubic bone. Just visualize the pubic bone moving towards the chin. Keep your feet strong. And what you do experience is the sense of your hips lifting towards the ceiling. And it's a fairly organic movement. And once you're in a reasonably comfortable position, then you can squeeze your heels again towards each other, like you're trying to go into duck feet. That creates space around the groin area. So lots of tension there for anyone who sits for the majority of their day. And that means that a lot of the blood and energy and information is getting stuck. There's not a great way for that to circulate. And we all know that circulation is the key to good health, yes? So what you can do when you're in this position is visualize that whole area nice and free. You could breathe into the belly, feel it expand. Drop the arms to the floor, and if you've had enough, that's okay. Stay here or come out of the pose. We're going to do the next one, which might be a little bit too strong if you've got a stiff neck, but in between stiff necks it feels great, so you can give it a go if you want to. Shuffle onto one side, bring one arm under, do the same on the other side, and if possible you're going to shimmy your shoulders down, press the backs of the arms down. Now my chin is in, it's massaging my throat, my thyroid. That's great, but what I want to do is create some resistance to release tension in my neck. So what I imagine is that I'm trying to lift my chin slightly towards the ceiling. So in other words, away from my throat towards the ceiling. It's very subtle. I don't want you hurting yourself. We're talking 1/3 of a millimeter here. It's an idea almost. Relax, coming down. Release the right shoulder, release the left. Pubic bone to the chin. Let's try not to give in to gravity, but visualize the spine like a set of escalator. I'm going to come down joint by joint. And ideally the tailbone is going to touch the mat before the sitting bones. That's what we're aiming for. And then relax in constructive rest position. When you're ready, you can bring one knee at a time to your armpits and bring your arms in between your thighs. Give it a push and relax. Hold on to your shins. Bring your knees a little bit closer. Push your shins into your palms and your palms into your shins. And then relax. So let's finish the way we started. Let's try fish pose. Broaden across the upper back. Press the shoulder blades down. Bring the chin and relax the belly. And expand the tummy on the inhalation. So just feel as if you're lifting your belly, your chest, your collarbone, as if towards the ceiling. Feel the front of the body moving towards the ceiling, middle of the spine, moving away from the mat. Relax. Allow the back of the body to sink back down. Bring your knees together. Pop the arms down by the side. Give it a bit of a wiggle. Pop your feet on your mat. Maybe you're going to turn your palms up and just very gently extend into your fingertips. So, high achievers, imagine that you're going to do that 100%. Then you're going to take it all the way by about 98%. And what you're left with is just that idea. But those fingertips are still tingling. The center of the palm feels alive. Alright, now that's really good if you find that you drift off or you've got a lot on your mind at the moment, because it will just keep you a little bit centered. For those who feel quite relaxed at the moment, you are very rare people. You can have your hands on your belly. Some of you might like to shimmy your feet out, let your knees drop together. Others, you might like to be in Baddha Konasana. Or we can put your legs over a chair. So let's go through this breathing exercise that we've been doing. If you remember it, there is no need to listen to me. If you remember how to incorporate Ujjayi breathing into that practice, you can do that. I'll quickly explain it. Okay, so what we're going to do is imagine on the inhalation that we are sipping the air through a straw with the mouth closed and the lips together. We do this really slowly, 3/4 of a lungful, and then maybe we can hold the breath for a few seconds at the end of that inhale, and then we're going to exhale in 3 even stages. Same thing, you can either imagine that you're pushing the air out through that imaginary straw but with your mouth closed, or you can imagine that you're humming. But I'm going to do that in 3 even stages, but I want to just take you back to the beginning of the practice where I said relax on the exhale. Okay, so this is what I want you to do for at least those first 2 exhale pauses. So you relax a little bit, the air will come out. Then you pause, then you relax a little bit more of that air comes out. It's very, very subtle, not really pushing, just allowing. Now once you get to that 3rd and last exhale pause, there's still air in there. But what happens with the Ujjayi breathing is that that technique allows you to push all of the air out of the lungs. All right, so I hope that makes sense. I want the first 2 to be a bit more of a surrender. And as you get onto that 3rd one, you're going to have to help it along a bit. But notice I said help, not force. Okay? And again, these are just ideas and things that may give you some techniques that you can then adjust to be more esoteric to whatever you're experiencing, because we're all experiencing things differently, aren't we? I don't know what's going on here. Alright, so it's not instructions as such, just suggestions, things that you can try, and that might lead you to come to something else that feels good. You can share that with us, that would be great, because we all have different experiences, and all these experiences are valid. And obviously it's good to have some objectivity. Now for those of you who'd like to continue for a little bit longer with that breathing exercise, if you're enjoying it, just mute even, or pause this recording now. Otherwise we're going to complete rest, which means that you can let go of any sense of controlling your breathing or anything else, and change your position if you need to, come into Shavasana or something that feels comfortable for the last part of the practice. Do all the fidgeting and shuffling that you need to do within the first 10 seconds, and then resolve to be content with where you've ended up. Nothing is ever perfect. Doesn't mean it isn't okay. And we'll give ourselves something to focus on so that the mind doesn't drift. And in this instance, just as we've done throughout most of this practice or the sequence, really try and keep your attention quite close within the parameters of the space that your body is inhabiting and your body itself. So being aware of tension that creeps into your body, allowing it to soften, maybe starting to become aware of those thoughts or memories that might have just flown suddenly into your mind and created that feeling of tension, that reaction in your body. Maybe that thought or that memory isn't as scary or as frightening as that, but it's just something. And sometimes these thoughts can be, oh, I needed to, I don't know, put something in the fridge or something, something that is just not life-threatening. It's good if we can catch them. If we can catch them, we can name them, we can honour them, we can let them go. Obviously, sometimes these things are a little bit more serious. They do relate to memories that we have that maybe we haven't fully dealt with, and that's okay too. Give yourself permission to allow those sensations, to feel what you feel. Again, that objectivity can really help. So when we notice a feeling or a sensation or emotion, we can stand outside of ourselves a little bit and observe it and observe our reactions. It can be really useful. There'll be some of you out there who find it hard to relax. You'll be thinking, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. I want to remind you, this is 5 minutes. And this 5 minutes, if you choose to take 5 minutes now or every day, it's gold for your mind, for your brain, for your health, for your sleeping patterns, for your digestion, all those things that we look upon as being related to health outcomes. That's 5 minutes. So be aware of those thoughts, that resistance. Because resistance is, part of the reason that many of us don't feel content. We're always feeling like there's a little bit of a struggle, no matter that we often can't control the things that we're struggling against. Be aware of that struggle, be aware of that resistance, go with it, question it, dig it out. And again, I'm going to invite you to do a longer rest and relaxation. So if you'd like to, you can mute or pause this recording now. Otherwise, for the rest of you, I'm going to take you through the last part of the practice, which is the visualization. Okay? So this is all about creating better energy flow and blood flow through the body. And when we focus on a particular area, generally it will become a bit more interesting, a bit more tingly. And this is telling us something. It tells us we can generate blood flow to a particular part of our body just by observing it. Okay, so body awareness, rather than just being at the gym, being on a treadmill, watching the TV, focus on what you're doing, being aware of what you're doing. Much more useful. So let's start by becoming aware of the lower belly, so around the pelvic floor, pubic abdomen, base of the spine, just around that area. Just observe, see what you notice. Imagine you're taking a little sip of air into that part of your belly. And just feel the lower belly start to expand, sense it becoming warm, feeling nourished. Notice how fluid that area is. And then follow your breath when you're ready into the main part of the belly, just allowing the navel to lift away from the spine, creating space around that power center, visualizing all of the digestive system and all the other important organs that reside in and around that particular part of your body. A large part of your immune system exists in this part of the body as well. And visualize, if you can, that system of nerves that surrounds the digestive system, the enteric nervous system, feeling brain. You see, this part of your body is, the health of this part of your body is imperative to what happens elsewhere. So just if you can, imagine this area feeling free, feeling warm, feeling spacious, feeling nourished. And then follow your breath into your chest. Just allow the ribs to lift slightly out of the waist. And this time visualize your heart, your lungs, and your circulatory system, just like a system of tunnels and channels around your body. So just visualize, if you can, those three things working together to move the blood, the energy and the information around the body through those tunnels and channels in order to bring oxygen and nutrients into the cells, the trillions of cells that make up who we are. We think we're just a thinking brain, but there's so much more to who we are. Allow the throat to soften and follow your breath through the throat to the crown of the head. Just pause to observe for a moment sensation at the crown of your head. And when you're ready to exhale, see if you can follow that not just as a feeling of softness in your muscles and your bones, but also with a sense of surrender, with a sense of allowing, a sense of relinquishing control a little bit. So follow that exhalation, follow that idea if you can, down the back of your head, your neck, the upper back, and across your shoulders, the middle back, lower back, across the top of your pelvis, the buttocks and tailbone, and then down through each of your legs and the heels, and out through the tips of each of your toes. And in your own time, you can give your fingers and your toes a bit of a wiggle and squeeze your eyes and your eyelids together. And you can bring your arms up above your head to give your whole body one last big stretch. And you can either bring up your left knee to roll yourself gently to the right side, or both knees if you prefer. Give yourself a bit of a rock and draw yourself gently to the right side, and stay there for as long as you like. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day or your evening, depending on when you're doing this practice. Namaste everybody, and I'll see you next term.